I think nobody's safe in the league, but I think he's going to be able to do a good job. I think he's the player for the big scene, even though I thought in Dallas he had something special going.
You know, innocent kid, same time, just ultra talented, whole world's in front of him. You want to protect people like that too, because I feel like sometimes people come at him crazy, you know, which is unnecessary. You know, and he responds in his own way, but he's not from America. He's not used to the degenerative culture here.
It's kind of a pick your poison when you have two, brainiacs when it comes to the game of basketball on the floor at the same time.
Imagine a player so talented, so electrifying, that even the greatest of all time can't help but stop and watch. A player who, at just 26 years old, is already rewriting the rules of what it means to be a superstar in the NBA. Enter Luka Doncic. Since stepping onto the NBA stage in 2018, Luka has done things that defy logic. Jaw-dropping step-back threes, no-look passes that seem ripped straight out of a video game, and clutch performances that leave even the most seasoned veterans in awe. But here's the thing, when LeBron James, a player often in the conversation for the greatest of all time, starts singing your praises, you know you've arrived. LeBron doesn't just respect Luka's game, he celebrates it. So what do the NBA's biggest stars really think of Luka Doncic? Let's dive in, starting with the king himself, LeBron James. LeBron James has played alongside some great players in the NBA, from Wade and Kyrie Irving to Anthony Davis and Kevin Love. So when he speaks about Luka Doncic, his words carry weight. LeBron has been vocal about Luka's ability to dominate games, and after watching yet another masterclass from the Mavericks superstar, he had this to say.
That's the Luka that we all accustomed to have been watching over the last 7 years. You know, especially you get that left side of the floor step back going. Pretty damn dangerous and big time game from tonight.
LeBron is no stranger to clutch performances, and he knows exactly what it takes to take over a game. And when he mentions Luka's step-back three, he's talking about one of the most lethal signature moves in today's NBA. Luka doesn't need explosive speed or freakish athleticism. He uses footwork, patience, and elite shot-making to create separation. When he gets to his left side, defenders already know what's coming, but stopping it? That's a different story. It's a move that has buried teams in crunch time and time again. And LeBron? He's seen plenty of all-time great shot makers. So if he's calling Luka's game pretty damn dangerous, you know it's real. LeBron's admiration for Luka doesn't stop with his ability to take over games. He also understands that Luka is bigger than just one great performance. He's a generational player. In another interview, LeBron spoke about what it means to have a player of Luka's caliber on his team.
You know, just the excitement of being able to add a caliber player like that, a generational talent like that to our franchise, is something that's given me energy, and and I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do.
That's LeBron James, a four-time champion and one of the most accomplished players ever, saying that Luka Doncic is giving him energy. And that tells you everything. Luka isn't just another great player. He's the kind of superstar that can shift the balance of power in the NBA, the kind of talent that teams dream of building around, the kind of player that even LeBron is excited to play alongside. LeBron and Luka's on-court chemistry has drawn comparisons to a quarterback-wide receiver duo, and LeBron himself made the connection clear.
I'm a natural-born wide receiver, and he's a natural-born quarterback, so it fits perfectly. You know, I've been running the floor and running lanes pretty much my whole life, and he's been throwing great passes pretty much his whole life. So it's not hard to get a rhythm when it comes to that. You know, it's just all about eye contact and him being a great quarterback like he is, and me being the recipient of it. So.
Think about that for a second. LeBron James, one of the greatest NBA players in NBA history, is calling Luka the quarterback. That speaks to just how elite Luka's vision is. Luka doesn't just see the first passing option, he sees the play developing before it even happens. His ability to thread the needle and deliver pinpoint passes makes him one of the most gifted playmakers the game has ever seen. And when you pair that with LeBron's ability to run the floor, finish at the rim, and read defenses, it's a nightmare for opposing teams. For LeBron, playing with Luka feels natural because he's never had to work so hard to get easy buckets. When a player like Luka is running the offense, all you need to do is make eye contact, run your lane, and trust the ball will be there. And that's why LeBron sees their connection as effortless. Draymond Green has built a career off of defensive intensity, basketball IQ, and making life miserable for the league's best players. He's battled against LeBron in the finals, shut down elite scorers, and anchored one of the best defensive teams in NBA history. So when he speaks about a player with respect, you know they're legitimately special. And when it comes to Luka Doncic, Green isn't just acknowledging him, he's embracing the challenge.
Always fun competing against Luka when you get the opportunity to play with the greats, or play against the greats. You know, you always want to see how you stack up, what you can do to stop them. So it's always fun competing against guys like Luka.
Coming from one of the greatest defensive players of this generation, that's a huge statement. Draymond isn't the type to hand out empty praise. If he respects your game, you've earned it. And that's exactly what makes Luka so unique. Green enjoys the chess match, the battle to figure out what works, what doesn't, and how to slow down a player who seemingly has no weaknesses. But the truth? Even one of the smartest defenders in NBA history has struggled to find an answer for Luka. Try to get physical? Luka absorbs contact and still finishes. Try to double team him? He'll pick apart the defense with pinpoint passes. Try to take away his left hand? He finds another way to beat you. That's why Draymond sees Luka as a test, because great defenders want to see how they stack up against the best. And right now, Luka is already one of the best. Kyrie Irving isn't just Luka Doncic's teammate. He's one of the few players in the league who truly understands what it's like to carry the weight of superstardom at a young age. He's seen firsthand how the spotlight can be as brutal as it is rewarding. And that's why, when he talks about Luka, his words go beyond basketball.
You know, innocent kid, same time, just ultra talented, whole world's in front of him. You want to protect people like that too, because I feel like sometimes people come at him crazy, you know, which is unnecessary. So my goal is just to protect him, man. And that's why it goes deeper than basketball.
That's not just praise. That's Kyrie stepping up as a veteran, as a leader, and as someone who sees Luka's potential in a way few others do. Kyrie's relationship with Luka isn't just about basketball chemistry. It's about understanding. He sees Luka as more than just a generational talent. He sees him as a person, a kid who's still growing, still learning, still finding his way. And that's why he's willing to defend him, support him, and make sure he doesn't have to go through the pressure alone. Because Kyrie has been there before. He was the #1 pick as a teenager. He won an NBA championship alongside LeBron. He's faced the highest expectations imaginable. And now, he wants to make sure Luka doesn't have to face those challenges alone. That's why he says it goes deeper than basketball. Because what Luka is doing right now, it's bigger than just points, assists, and highlights. It's about carrying the weight of greatness. And Kyrie is making sure he doesn't have to do it alone. When Nikola Jokic speaks about Luka Doncic, it carries a different kind of weight. These aren't just two NBA superstars praising each other. These are two European icons who have reshaped the league. Both Luka and Jokic came into the NBA as foreign prospects with questions about their athleticism, their ability to compete, and whether their European dominance would translate to the NBA. Now, they're two of the most unstoppable players in the world, and Jokic sees something special in Luka, something that sets him apart from even other greats. Jokic first spoke about Luka's ability to thrive under pressure, acknowledging that while the NBA is a business where nothing is guaranteed, Luka is built for the moment.
It's a business, I don't know. I think nobody expected, especially not him. I think nobody's safe in the league, it seems like. But I think he's going to do a good job, I think he's the player for the big scene.
That phrase, a player for the big scene, isn't just a compliment. It's an acknowledgement that Luka isn't just great. He rises to the occasion when it matters most. Not many players can dominate the playoffs at age 21. Not many players can go toe-to-toe with superstars and never blink. Not many players embrace the spotlight the way Luka does. Jokic knows that some players shrink under the bright lights. Luka shines. But Jokic didn't stop there. In another interview, he doubled down on just how special Luka is, calling him a once-in-a-lifetime type of player.
In my opinion, of course, maybe, I think Luka is a generational player, generational talent. Luka, I'm not saying that it is not, I'm just saying I think Luka is somebody that we see somebody like him before who is affecting the game in so many levels, so many possessions.
That's coming from a two-time MVP, a player who understands what it means to be truly dominant in today's NBA. And he's saying that Luka is different. He's not just a scorer, he's a playmaker. He's not just a passer, he's a leader. He's not just a competitor, he's a generational force. When Jokic compares Luka to a once-in-a-lifetime player, He's putting him in the same conversation as the greatest to ever do it. Because players like Luka don't come around often. Austin Reeves has quickly established himself as one of the most skilled and confident young players in the league. He's faced some of the best talent in the NBA, but when it comes to Luka Doncic, his message is simple. You'd much rather have him on your team than play against him. Like you said, he's one of the best players in the world, if not the best player. So to have him on your team is much better than playing against him.
Like you said, he's one of the best players in the world, if not the best player. So to have him on your team is much better than playing against him.
That statement says it all. Luka isn't just great, he's the kind of player who makes your life miserable if you're on the other side. Reeves has been on both ends of the Luka experience, having to defend him one night and now having him as a teammate. And he knows exactly how frustrating it is to try and stop him. He plays at his own pace. You can't speed him up, you can't disrupt him. He's stronger than he looks. Good luck trying to push him off his spot. He sees the floor better than almost anyone. Double him, and you'll pay for it. No matter what defenses try to do, Luka always has an answer. And for players like Reeves, that's the difference between great and elite. It's not just that Luka can beat you, it's that he beats you his way, every single time. But as much as Reeves respects Luka's game as an opponent, he knows that having him on your side changes everything. Playing alongside Luka means your job gets easier. If you move without the ball, Luka will find you. If you run the floor, Luka will reward you. If you space the floor, Luka will create open shots for you. Reeves understands that when you play with a true basketball genius, all you have to do is be in the right spot, and the game comes to you. And for a young rising star like Reeves, there's no better player to learn from and grow with than Luka. When Kevin Durant, one of the most unstoppable scorers in NBA history, talks about your offensive game, you know you've reached a different level of respect. And when it comes to Luka Doncic, Durant isn't just impressed, he's acknowledging Luka's evolution into an offensive juggernaut.
I feel like when he first came to the league, he was more threes and layups, and I think he's expanding his game and scoring all over the floor, inside the three-point line, inside the paint. And his range is deep too from the three. So, I think he's made himself a complete player offensively where you can't limit him to anything, you can't force him anywhere, he can do anything he wants.
That's KD, one of the most skilled and versatile scorers the game has ever seen, saying that Luka is now unguardable. Durant points out something that a lot of people forget. Luka didn't enter the NBA as a complete scorer. When he first arrived, his offense was built around three-pointers and getting to the rim. He relied on step-back threes, floaters, and bullying smaller defenders. Defenses could try to force him into mid-range shots or make him settle for deep threes. But now, there is no weakness in Luka's offensive game. Durant breaks it down. Luka is now scoring from everywhere: three-point line, mid-range, paint, post, floaters, runners, step-backs. His mid-range game has developed, making it impossible to run him off the three-point line without consequences. His post game has improved, allowing him to punish smaller defenders like prime Dirk Nowitzki. And his three-point range has extended, forcing defenders to pick him up earlier and giving him even more room to attack. That's why KD says you can't limit him anymore. You can't force him in one direction. You can't make him uncomfortable. You can't take away a specific part of his game. Because Luka has mastered all of it. KD knows what it takes to become a dominant offensive force. So when he says Luka is unstoppable, that he's now a complete player offensively, that defenses can't limit him anymore, that's as high of a compliment as you can get. Because when one of the best scorers of all time puts you in that category, you've officially arrived. Gilbert Arenas knows what it takes to be an elite offensive weapon. As a former NBA star and three-time All-Star, he built his career off scoring, creativity, and understanding defenses at a high level. But when it comes to Luka Doncic, Arenas sees something even more special.
When Luka drives, the defense itself have to play perfect basketball because he's so smart, so patient, that any misstep, he's gonna find a pass. Like Kobe with his pump fake. You can't calculate on a stat sheet that he brings to the game.
That right there, that's what separates good players from generational ones. Arenas makes an incredible comparison. He likens Luka's mind games and patience to Kobe Bryant's legendary pump fake. Think about that. Kobe's pump fake wasn't just a move, it was a psychological weapon. Defenders knew it was coming, but they still fell for it. He forced them into mistakes, making them jump when they shouldn't. It wasn't just about the pump fake itself, it was about controlling the defender's mind. And that's exactly what Luka does when he attacks a defense. He makes defenders think instead of just reacting. He waits them out, knowing they'll eventually make a mistake. And when they do, it's already too late. For young players entering the NBA, there's always one player they want to test themselves against, the guy who represents the highest level of competition. For Stefan Castle, that player is Luka Doncic. When asked which player he was most excited to face, his answer was immediate.
Which player are you most excited to match up against?
Luka probably is the best player in the league right now. Just coming in, I feel like that's somebody that, I'd want to, compete against.
That's a rookie walking into the league and already identifying Luka as the benchmark. Castle's words carry more weight than just praise. They reflect how Luka is already shaping the next wave of NBA talent. Young players aren't just watching him, they're studying him. They aren't just acknowledging his greatness, they're trying to measure themselves against it. Luka has become the new test for rising stars. That's the ultimate sign of respect, when rookies aren't just excited to meet you, but they want to compete against you to prove themselves. Because when you've reached that level, you're not just great, you're the standard. And for Luka Doncic, at just 26 years old, that moment has already arrived. Veteran NBA players have seen it all. They've played against the best, shared the court with future Hall of Famers, and witnessed generational talent up close. So when Wes Matthews first got a glimpse of Luka Doncic's vision, his reaction said it all.
We were probably just playing pickup, and I remember I was on the right corner. I was on this side, he comes down, bop, whatever. Gets to the right, gets to the feint, like tax like the 45 or whatever. My man helps a little bit.
Yeah.
And at no point did we make eye contact. Like at no point in the possession, and he just throws over his head straight to me. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, he different.
Yeah, nigga different.
He doing that
You know,
still,
and this
so
was
it's
before
bad.
he played an NBA game.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
all right, he see the court.
That's pure basketball IQ. No eye contact, no signal, no hesitation. Just a perfect no-look pass before Matthews even knew he was open. And the craziest part? This was before Luka had even played an NBA game. Matthews has played alongside elite playmakers before, but Luka's vision stood out immediately. Think about it. This wasn't a playoff game. This wasn't a film session. This was just pickup. And yet, Luka was already operating like a seasoned NBA superstar. That's why Matthews' reaction was so raw, because when a 10-plus-year NBA veteran sees something they've never seen before, that's when you know you're watching greatness. Jalen Brunson isn't just another NBA player praising Luka Doncic. He's someone who shared the court with him in Dallas, saw his greatness up close, and experienced the full force of Luka's talent firsthand. And from day one, Brunson realized Luka was different.
This man would just come in the gym, they do his work, and when he play pickup, it just looked like he's doing that slow motion, but he's doing whatever he wants. And I'm thinking, I play like my own pace, like I control the game, whatever. I do it a little differently, but his is just on another level.
Mm-hmm.
So from day one, I was like, this dude is good. This dude is good. But like, also, I'm thinking like, damn, this dude is good. Do I belong? Like that's how like the type of doubt that I put in my mind. Like
That's
this
how
dude
good
he was that good.
That last part? Luka was so good, he made Jalen Brunson question if he even belonged in the NBA. That's not normal. That's Luka. Brunson describes something that every defender has felt when guarding Luka. It looks like he's moving in slow motion, but he's completely in control. He's not the fastest, he's not the most explosive. He doesn't blow by defenders like prime Derrick Rose or John Wall. And yet, he gets wherever he wants, whenever he wants. That's because Luka doesn't rely on athleticism. He relies on manipulation, pace, and intelligence. He'll put you on his hip and control your movement. He'll stop and go until you're off balance. He'll change speeds just enough to make defenders second-guess every step. And by the time you realize what's happening, he's already won the possession. But Brunson's respect for Luka goes beyond his skill set. He's also spoken out against the constant criticism Luka receives, especially when it comes to his defense and interactions with referees.
Yes, I think it's unfair. A lot goes on in a season, in a series, that a lot of people don't see. Obviously, I don't want to use the injury for him, but like he's banged up. That's one thing. There's certain times where like calls are made in the same situations that calls are not made. Like it's just all like fouls can be subjective for a referee. Like, hey, I don't think it's a foul. I think it's a foul, or I don't think there's enough contact for that foul.
Luka is often criticized for arguing with refs, but Brunson, someone who knows him personally, defends him against those claims. People see Luka frustrated, but they don't see what he's dealing with. They don't see how much contact he takes every game. They don't see how inconsistent officiating can be. They don't see how playing through injuries affects his reactions. And Brunson, like many of Luka's peers, understands that these things shouldn't overshadow his greatness because at the end of the day, Luka is special. And if you don't realize it, you're not paying attention. Luka Doncic isn't just another young star. He's already one of the most respected players in the NBA. From Hall of Famers to current superstars, the basketball world has nothing but admiration for what Luka brings to the game. LeBron James sees him as a generational talent. Kevin Durant recognizes his unstoppable offensive evolution. Jokic, Kyrie, and Draymond all acknowledge his elite IQ and dominance. Young players like Stephon Castle already view him as the standard to beat. Luka has earned the respect of the best, not just because of his scoring, but because of the way he controls the game, makes his teammates better, and thrives in the biggest moments. And what's even scarier? He's only getting started. As he continues to add to his game, sharpen his skills, and chase championships, one thing is clear. Luka Doncic isn't just a great player. He's a future legend in the making. And the basketball world can't wait to see what's next.